The biggest lie most men tell themselves after losing everything is that they have to start from zero. Well, they don't. You have something right now, today, in the situation you're in that most people who have never lost anything just simply do not have. You have real skills, real experience, real knowledge earned the hard way through actual wins and failures. That's not nothing. That is the foundation of your comeback income. And this video is about how to turn it into money without gimmicks, without waiting for the perfect opportunity, and without pretending you're starting over as a 22-year-old with nothing. So let's get into it. After I filed bankruptcy in 2010 and I lost my job at the same time, I made a mistake that I see almost every man make in the aftermath of a major financial collapse. I started looking for something new, something I hadn't done before, something that felt like a fresh start, because fresh starts feel safer than going back to anything that reminded me of what I had lost. What I didn't understand at the time is that I was sitting on a gold mine, decades of skills, relationships, and knowledge that had real value in the marketplace. Skills I had developed as a student pastor, as a leader, as a business owner, as someone who built community and moved people toward action. I walked away from all of it looking for something new because the old life felt contaminated by the loss. That thinking cost me 2 years of income I should have been generating from day one of the rebuild. The travel company I eventually built, the one that grew to over $1 million in gross revenue each year, was not built on new skills. It was built on the exact skills I already had. Connecting people, building community, creating experiences, organizing groups towards a shared goal. I had been doing all of those things for years. I just applied them to a different vehicle. After the travel company closed, after COVID took everything again, I made the same mistake, but this time just for a few months. I was looking outward for something new when the answer was already in my hands. The comeback never starts with something you don't know yet. It always starts with something you already know better than most people ever will. And that's what this video is about. Not starting over, but starting with what you have, because what you have is worth more than you think. So step one, take inventory of what you actually know. Before you can monetize what you have to know what you have. And most men who've been through a financial collapse have never done this exercise deliberately because they've been too busy looking forward to look at what's already in their hands. Sit down and write out every skill you've developed across your entire working life. Not your job titles, but skills, the actual things you know how to do that produce results for people. If you built a business, you know how to build a business. That is a skill most people will pay for. If you managed people, you know how to lead. If you negotiated deals, you know how to negotiate. If you sold anything, you know how to sell. If you built a real estate portfolio, even one that collapsed, you understand real estate at a level most people never will. So go deep, go back 20 years if you have to, and write down all the things that feel obvious to you. Because what feels obvious to you is often extraordinary to someone who hasn't lived your life. The inventory is the starting point. You cannot package and sell what you haven't acknowledged that you've got. So step two, identify who needs what you know right now. Skills only generate income when they connect with someone who needs them. So after you've taken inventory, the next step is simple. Who is struggling with something I already know how to solve? This is not complicated. It's honest. After 2010, I understood real estate, debt, financial collapse, and rebuilding from nothing. Who needed that? Men exactly in the situation I had just been in. Men who were losing properties, filing bankruptcy, trying to figure out how to rebuild their financial lives from the ground up. I didn't monetize that knowledge immediately after 2010, and that was a mistake. But the knowledge was there. The audience was there. The need was real and urgent. I just hadn't connected them yet. Look at your skills inventory and ask, Who wakes up at 3 a.m. struggling with something I already know how to handle? That person is your market. That problem is your product. That gap between what they need and what they have is your comeback income opportunity. Step 3, package it simply. Start before it's perfect. This is where most men stall. They identify the skill, they identify the need, and then they spend 6 months trying to build the perfect product, the perfect system, the perfect offer before they put anything in front of anyone. That is not preparation. That is another version of the same fear we talked about in the last video. It's dressed up as professionalism. The first version of your comeback income does not need to be perfect. It just needs to be real, and it needs to be now. After the travel company closed, I didn't spend a year building a course before I talked to anyone. I started having conversations. I identified what people needed. I offered help in the simplest possible form, consulting, advising, doing, and I got paid for it while I figured out the larger structure. So start with a service before a product, a conversation before a course, a direct offer to one person before a website, a funnel, and a launch sequence. One person, one problem, one offer today. That is how comeback income starts. Not with a grand plan, with one honest transaction between your knowledge and someone who needs it. Step 4, use your story as the credential. Here is something that took me a long time to understand about comeback income, and it is something that men who've never lost anything will never have access to. Your story is your credential, not your degree, not your title, not your track record before the loss. The fact that you built something real, lost it completely, and are still standing, still thinking clearly, still moving forward, and still choosing to rebuild, that is a level of authority that cannot be faked and cannot be taught. People are not just buying your skill, they are buying the fact that you've been tested in ways most people never will be. They are buying the hard-won judgment that only comes from having lost something significant and survived it. I lost $600,000 in real estate in 2008. I built $1 million company and watched COVID take it. I raised $500,000 from real investors and lost it to forces I could not control. Every one of those losses is a credential. Every one of them makes the advice I give more valuable, not less, to a man who is in the middle of his own collapse. So don't hide your story when you're building comeback income. Lead with it. The right people, the people who need what you have, will trust you more because of it, not despite it. Step 5, protect the floor while you build. One final thing that is critical and that most men miss when they start rebuilding income. Whatever you build first, whatever your first comeback income stream is, it must never threaten your survival number. The floor we talked about in the last video is the non-negotiable. Your comeback income is built above it, not instead of it. This means you may need stable base income, like a job, a contract, a consistent service, while you build something bigger alongside of it. This is not failure, that is strategy. That men I've watched rebuild successfully almost always had a base that covered the floor while they built something scalable on top of it. So don't quit the thing that covers your floor to chase the thing that might replace it someday. Build both simultaneously. Protect the floor, build above it, one level at a time. And here's the truth I want to leave with you today. The comeback income is not out there somewhere waiting to be discovered. It is already inside of you, in the skills you developed across the decades, in the knowledge you earned through both your wins and your losses, in the story you're living right now that makes everything you know more valuable to the men who need it most. You are not starting from zero. You are starting from everything you have already been through, and everything you've already been through is worth more in the market than you think. Take the inventory, find the need, make the offer, protect the floor, build above it. That is how comeback income starts, and it starts today. If you want a step-by-step system instead of trying to figure this out on your own, I've put together a free 30-day rebuild blueprint specifically for men in this situation. It's organized into 4 weeks. Week 1 is about stabilizing. Week 2 is cash flow. Week 3 is income creation. And week 4 is the long-term rebuild. It's 30 days worth of videos. You watch 1 video a day and take notes and take action. You'll find the link in the description below. And then next Thursday, we're talking about the one mindset shift that turns your losses into your greatest competitive advantage. Not motivation and not positivity. This is a real practical shift in how you see what you've been through and how to use it. That one drops on Thursday, so don't miss that one. And if you found this helpful, please subscribe, like, and share with other friends or family members who need to rebuild as well. And let's rebuild together. That's Wealth Mode.